Hi there, and welcome to 60 for 30, a Magic the Gathering project that looks to get you a playable 60 card deck for right around $30. It's just me and my friends doing this project. There's no corporation, there's no money, there's no Patreon. This is to just show you some budget decks that I think are decent since I'm making them for me anyway. Um, and hopefully, since these videos aren't going to be 100,000 views a week type videos, we're going to be more in the single digits, and that's fine because I'm not doing this for that. If you are watching this video, comment, let me know what you think. I'll respond. We can start a dialogue, we can workshop ideas, you can tell me what deck you'd like to see me try and tackle, you can tell me about your favorite deck that I should check out, because it's just going to be you commenting. Alright, so give it a shot, see what happens, you might like it. Our deck today is a standard deck built around the humans from Shadows over Innistrad. It is kind of a mid-rangey, aggressive, but not too aggressive type deck that scales pretty well into the late game and has a decent amount of card advantage. So let's check it out. We obviously are going to be playing a lot of humans. So the most basic humans are these in front of you. We're going to be running playsets of Duskwatch Recruiter, Thraben Inspector, and Hamlet Captain. The Recruiter is a decent body for 2 mana, but it's the ability to look at the top 3 cards of your library and put a creature card from them in your hand that makes it really good. This is just good card advantage really at any stage of the game. And if it does flip into a Kralin Horde Howler, your creature spells will cost 1 less to cast, and it is a bigger body, so it's pretty decent that way, but we really like the card advantage. We also get card advantage and a nice 1-drop from our Thraben Inspector. This card's been everywhere, it's because it's pretty good. Being able to draw a card later in the game with your clue is really decent, and the body is not irrelevant in a deck that has lots of pumps. And then we have Hamlet Captain, which is a 2/2 for 2 that's going to buff all of our human creatures, and spoiler alert, all of our creatures are humans. So Hamlet Captain can be really, really strong. We have some slightly funner humans. I don't care that funner's not a word, whatever. They're funner humans, alright? Lone Rider, 1/1 first strike, lifelink. It's a pretty bad body, but we have a lot of ways to flip it, as you'll see. And if it does flip, It That Rides as One is a bear. It absolutely crushes games, and it's awesome. Veteran Cathar? Veteran Human is a 2/2 body that I didn't like. I actually almost cut this card from the deck when I was putting it together, but then once I started testing, I almost put more in. Because this ability to threaten double strike at instant speed makes combat really difficult for your opponents. And it's just really nice to be able to play around. You're not actually going to use it that often, but it's the threat that's important. And then Renegade Rallier, if you're looking for a card to cut for something else, this might be it. It's a decent body for 3 mana, and the Revolt ability is amazing since it can recur almost any of our creatures, but we don't have that many ways to consistently trigger Revolt. The Clue tokens will do it, and the Evolving Wilds will do it, as well as obviously one of your creatures dying. But there just aren't that many, and it hasn't been the most reliable, but it does have the potential to be a really great value card. So we had our fun humans, our funner humans, and here are our extra fun humans. Heron's Grace Champion. I know I'm sounding like a broken record about cards that I almost took out of the deck, but I almost took Heron's Grace Champion out of the deck until I realized how awesome it was, being able to flash this in, give your creatures lifelink, buff them, surprise block a creature that they didn't think you were going to be able to block. It's like a combat trick stapled to a good body, which is awesome. And then we have this card's in here because it's fun. I don't think it's good. It's a 3/3 for 4. There are better cards to be playing for 4 mana, but oh my goodness. Let's just go back for a second. Look at It That Rides as One, and just imagine all your creatures being first strike lifelink, or first strike lifelink trample, or you get the veteran going and all your creatures are double strike lifelink. Odric can be absolutely insane, and even though he depends on a lot going right to be awesome, he by himself can break through a lot of stalemates that happen in the mid game, and therefore is pretty decent in the right situations and a lot of fun in all situations. The utility cards, Blossoming Defense is the best card in the deck. If you don't have these cards, you should buy them just to own because they're fantastic. But I talked about ways to flip Lone Rider. Blossoming Defense does it at instant speed, makes it a 3/3. There's 3 life right there. You flip the card. It's a combat trick to win trades. It's a counter spell to removal, which can really get this deck behind since it wants to be fairly aggressive. And if they just kill your creatures every turn, you can get really behind. So Blossoming Defense stops that. It's amazing. If you have Blossoming Defense in your hand, it's a good hand. Always Watching is another spectacular card. Even with one of these out, your creatures just get way more threatening and can attack and defend. And when they have first strike, that's super nice to be having. Not to say nothing for what happens when you get multiple Always Watchings out. And then a lot of decks are going to have trouble keeping up with that. And then Lifecrafter's Bestiary, Lifecrafter's Artifact, is a card advantage machine. We play a lot of creature spells, so we're going to be drawing a lot of cards off of this. And we scry one every turn to make sure that our draws are better. So it's really just a pretty sweet card. You don't want too many because the abilities don't stack that well, but you'll never be sorry to see this card in a hand. Then our lands, I talked about Evolving Wilds. They're mostly there to trigger Revolt for the Renegade Ralliers, as well as smooth out our colors a little bit. Nothing too fancy going on here. So some deck notes from my testing. Blossoming Defense is best used as defense. It's even in the name of the card. Countering spells for 1 green mana is awesome. I can't get enough of it. They play Unlicensed Disintegration, and you're like, sorry, Blossoming Defense. Just feels good, guys. It just feels good. So try and hold it for that. This deck has a lot of ways to generate card advantage with the Lifecrafter's Bestiary, the Renegade Rallier, the Thraben Inspector, the Duskwatch Recruiter. You're going to be drawing a decent number of cards, which is super great in this type of deck, because you don't have to dedicate that much to it that you wouldn't normally have in the deck. It just does what it wants to naturally do, but you draw cards while doing it, which helps you grind out a lot of games. Decks have a hard time keeping up with that. And this is a mid-range deck. You're not going to be winning on turn 4, and with that card draw, and with Odric, and It That Rides as One, and Always Watching, and multiple Always Watchings, you're going to scale pretty well through the mid-game into the late game. The deck can do a lot. It can win fast, it can win slow, it can win right in the middle. All depends on what cards you have and how you play it. This cheap little deck will be standard. You can play it at FNM until the fall of 2017. Price-wise, it's below our target, right around $23 in the paper world, if you go to TCG Player right now. Online, I can get it from Card Hoarder, excluding basic lands, for under $2. If you don't have this deck, why not buy it for $2 online? And if you're not online, why not get online and buy this deck for $2? It's surprisingly fun, surprisingly decent, and surprisingly cheap. Sideboard and upgrades, we are under our target, so we actually could have included some of these cards in the deck. Metallic Mimic is great. Every creature you play is going to come down with a 1/1 counter on it, and Mimic will be a human and get all the human buffs that you have. So feel free to add Mimics to your list if that's what you want. The deck's biggest weakness is that it has no removal in it, no targeted removal. You can get some removal through combat tricks, but that's not nearly as reliable as you'd like. So I would say add removal to taste. The deck's pretty streamlined in doing what it wants to do, but I know I like some removal in my decks. It just feels better to have it. So, as I said, however much you want to add, go ahead, feel free to add it. And then Sigarda Heron's Grace is a sweet card that synergizes really well with this deck. I'd probably put this in for an Odric, drop him down to 2, and run a Heron's Grace. The hexproof is nice, and the being able to create human soldier tokens that will be buffed by your Hamlet Captain are pretty decent. And that's it, guys. This deck's pretty fun. I've been testing a lot of decks recently, and some of them have blown, just like been awful. But this one I'm sharing with you because it's actually turned out to be pretty sweet. So check it out. Like this video, tell your friends about it. Like I said, comment. I'll get back to you. Tell me a card you think should be in here that isn't. Tell me a card that should definitely not be in here. Tell me what deck you want to see me try and tackle next. Tell me your favorite deck that I should check out for my own benefit. This isn't some corporate this isn't some corporate video. It's just a guy who likes making budget decks, so feel free to talk to him. Alright, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the deck and the video, and have fun out there, guys.